Hello, I am Lizzie. I'm one of the External Affairs Managers here at the National Housing Federation, and I'm very pleased to say that I am joined today for the first time by Paul Dolan, Chief Executive of Riverside Housing Association. But most importantly, Paul is going to be the chair of our Quality Homes Conference taking place on the 15th of April. So welcome, Paul. We're here today to talk about the conference, what's on offer, and why you should attend. So to kick us off, in your own words, Paul, what is it that makes the Quality Homes Conference such a standout event in the sector, and why should people make sure it's in their diary this year?
Well, I think the timing of this conference is absolutely perfect. The conversations I'm having across the sector, be that in G15 or Homes to the North with chief executives, with board members, is around the quality of homes. Fundamentally, that's what we're in the business of, providing safe, secure, affordable homes, and that's going to be the centre of the conversation and centre of the focus of the conference. And it's about the lived experience of residents and those fundamentals of those decent quality homes that we need to provide in what is a challenging, tough environment. The important thing as well, this conference isn't about abstract policy or theoretical best practice and debate. It's about what quality looks like on the ground in people's homes and neighbourhoods. And this is at a time when the sector is under, as we know, massive intense scrutiny and pressure, with higher expectations, I would say rightly so, from residents, but also from regulators and government. And the conference will create space for honest conversation, practical discussion about how we raise standards in the quality of our homes, how we rebuild trust with residents that sometimes can be lacking. It's so emotive, isn't it, the home, and so important to our residents and communities. So people should have this in the diary. It's a great opportunity to bring together leaders, practitioners, partners, and share what people do brilliantly. And we can learn from each other and work through what generally works for organisations and therefore for our customers and residents.
Thank you so much, Paul. Yeah, sounds very exciting. And as you mentioned, we've seen a lot happening across the housing sector lately. So how is this year's conference going to help people to make sense of those kind of big challenges and shifts that we're all dealing with right now?
Yeah, I think Lizzie, right. We're in a period as a sector of profound change, from new regulatory requirements and the inspection of organisations. I think, the regulators certainly shift on that. And I think quality of homes, compliance and understanding non-compliance is integral for organisations to successfully navigate that regulatory kind of environment and framework. So we know we've got big pressures on finances. We want to do everything that we can, but we know the constraints for many organisations around that. We've got issues around workforce capacity, supply chain challenges, and ageing stock. So it can feel really overwhelming for people, and particularly how we translate our ambition, what we want to do through the finances into day-to-day delivery and reality. So this conference is really about joining the dots. If I was to summarise it, it brings together that view on regulation, on governance, on asset management, and importantly, resident engagement and frontline delivery, and connecting all that in how organisations can operate effectively. And by grounding those conversations, those discussions in real case studies, getting that shared learning really will help delegates move beyond compliance, because it's not, compliance is the basic, isn't it? It's the fundamental we've all got to hit. It's about more than that. It's how we embed quality and the quality of homes as a core organisational discipline, which can be tough, can be challenging, but we can gain insight and understanding and learning from colleagues through the conference, which will be a key part of it, as I see it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you kind of touched there, Paul, slightly on the kind of the programme and what we can expect. Mm-hmm. So what are the key things that you hope that delegates will walk away with after attending the conference?
So as I said, it's profound change. It's incredibly complex. It's incredibly challenging to get our heads around, and the policy position is moving like tectonic plates almost all time at the minute. We're trying to navigate that. So I think if we can leave as delegates with greater clarity and confidence in what we're doing, understand what good looks like from in the context of the social housing environment we're operating at the minute, and have the confidence to understand what is achievable and learning from best practice. So I hope there's a clarity, confidence. I hope there's practical insight So the practical ideas that people can take away, bring back to their organisation, and improve things like how we do take on board resident views, listening to residents, strengthening assurance, and supporting, importantly, colleagues who will dealing day to day in frontline operations with and can feel a bit of disconnect from the overarching strategy. How can we make sure they equally understand what the priorities are, how we can help them do an effective job around living those safe, secure, good quality homes in a professional way, that we all strive to achieve as housing associations.
Yeah, no, definitely. So more broadly then, and without giving too much away, are there any sessions or speakers that you yourself are particularly excited about this year?
The thing I think about the whole conference, there's such a breadth, and you see the plenaries and things. There's so many sessions you could tap into that are so relevant for the reasons I've described at the moment, where we are in terms of quality homes and thinking about that. So I think the positive thing is there is a real breadth of voices. There's a real mix of sector leaders. We've got some high-profile political and from a regulatory perspective attending. We've also importantly got operational experts, the people who do this job, who can demonstrate best practice in their organisation and share that learning with us. So I think there's a real breadth of people. I can't pinpoint one individual because it's far more complex a challenge than that for all organisations. But I think the Federation did a great job on this one, I've got to say. It's a really broad agenda, but there's some real specific areas of focus that people tap into that they're particularly interested in. They've got a particular challenge around and really gain some insight and learning from that. I think it's going to be incredibly powerful.
Well, thanks, Paul. And so then finally, I just have one more question for you. So one of the kind of the biggest draws for delegates is always the kind of that networking piece. So what kind of opportunities can people expect for connecting with others in the sector at this year's conference?
Everybody likes a bit of networking, don't they, at conferences, find out what's happening somewhere else in different organisations. But I think there's a real strength to that. And that bit about what happens outside the main sessions, outside the kind of presentations and all that stuff is equally important. So this programme, I think, has been structured to give people time and space to connect meaningfully with each other, not just quick introductions, but those connections where they can have conversations, they can meet with peers, and who are sharing similar challenges and can follow that through maybe at a later point beyond the day as well. So delegates can definitely expect opportunities to engage colleagues from wide across the sector, from boards and exec teams through to operational leaders and partners, those people who know what really needs to happen and what works. So those informal discussions, I think, are a really valuable and important part of the event. Help people build relationships, share experience, and also the important point, no organisation is alone in this. There's really similar challenges that most associations are facing at the minute. So that feeling of, camaraderie is really important, and shared learning and sharing those networks and experiences is a real value and outcome, I think, that's highly valuable from the conference. So really excited, really looking forward to it. I'm going to learn a lot from it, I know that. So it should be a great one. Perfectly timed, I think, for the sector.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for speaking with me today, Paul. Really looking forward to the conference. You've made it sound very exciting. So I can't wait to see you all in Birmingham on the 15th of April.
Thanks, Lizzie.